You see what I'm saying? He's one of these guys. See, there he is, right? There he is. Clean shaven. Here he is right there. Holy shit. Tell me that don't look like Austin Theory right there. Okay? This guy's trying to be alt and shit. This guy's trying to be punk rock. You know, you can be punk rock on your off time, but dude, come on, dude. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this whole Austin theory. I believe the Vision, Logan Paul more specifically, is pulling him down this path, this perception, this self-diagnosed destiny, right? To be a failure, to be a lackey, to forever be a mid-carding bum who will never strive for more, who will never fight for their spot in that goddamn writer's room. I want to see Austin Theory fight for it. I do believe he can get what he wants if he knows how to, finesse his way, talk his way into it. But with this gift of gab, with this mouthpiece, with this loose-ass mouthpiece, I don't think he can do it. I don't think he can really make the sale like that. I don't think he can really make the deal like that, can he? Right? Can he make it happen like that? Can he secure the bag like that? Can he really pitch himself to the point where Triple H puts his foot down? Oh, shit. I think that's an awesome idea, Austin. Yeah. So awesome. Boom. Maxine Dupree. Get Maxine Dupree in the picture. Oh, my God. Give me an Edge and Lita type of run, man. Curl this motherfucker's hair out, please. Anyways, you guys already know what this is. Get the high rise, live and work while still in John. Out.
PlayStation is currently attempting something that can only be described as the greatest Minecrafting attempt in world history. And it's a little bit too early to describe what Minecrafting is, wink wink. Also, like the video right now, it takes less than a second, and I want to see something if it actually happens, so please like the video. But in any case, the PlayStation situation is bad. I have never talked about PlayStation as much as I have done in the past month, and honestly, I hate it. Everything the PlayStation currently is doing is as bad as it gets. PlayStation has already thrown features like Eddie's, deleted things that they didn't want, and said, well, suck, I guess, it's a digital license. Then they decided to do that not only for games, but now recently movies. The PlayStation app, so you can get 8 petabytes of memory, is literally $3,000. PlayStation is beyond expensive at this point. And that doesn't even end there, because PlayStation is doing everything, including pushing up game prices, everything it can to pretty much just lose the support of almost everything. And the key phrase here is obviously almost. Because this situation has also revealed how absolutely stupid some people are. And there's no other way of saying this, there's no other way of putting this, because this PlayStation announcement has 981 million views, and they are literally saying we're getting rid of physical discs. Now, are they getting rid of physical discs for their platform because it's better for consumers? Hell no. Are they getting rid of physical copies so they can finally reduce the price? No. That's never happened. When was the last time you saw something's price go down, huh? Probably not exactly. Same. Look at us. We're like two peas in a pod. We have never experienced anything good in our lives revolving around pricing. Ain't that special? In any case, there are people currently who are obviously pissed about the fact that PlayStation is doing this. And some people are speaking out. We have literally Charlie, aka Moist Critical, the king of normies, saying that this is pretty bad.
The movies are getting pulled because of a licensing issue with Studio Canal, but it's Sony's platform, and now all the customers that wasted their clams on it have nothing to show for it. It's just a void. It's blank now. You will own nothing and be happy, and Sony shamelessly makes this announcement in light of that, while also announcing that they are shutting down the PSN store for PlayStation 3 and PS Vita, meaning hundreds, if not thousands, of digital games that existed on those platforms are now gone forever and not preserved because there wasn't physical copies of them. They were just digital titles there. So they are genuinely right in your face, hitting fucking Fortnite emotes on that ass, laughing and goatsing in front of you, showing like, yeah, you will own nothing and be happy. Look, we just took down this store, revoking your access to these games that you paid for. They're gone, Buster, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yep, PlayStation is truly on a generational run. Anyway, Charlie finally got off the fence. Can you imagine it? Legendary thing. By the way, Charlie was still fan of the channel. He tells me about his shenanigans every day. We talk often. It's great. I love it. We have even Rajesh from Some Ordinary 100% Canadians speaking out about PlayStation's dirty and evil practices. Now, obviously, though, considering it's Rajesh and he has a history of literally being a meme when it comes to these things, because he is unironically the guy who's going to say, digital games should be physical and then buy all the digital games. He has done so multiple times. Again, everyone knows what kind of absolute meme-worthy existence he is. But at least Rajit's on the right side of history for once, okay? And people do forget this a little bit, but the reason why this is happening is honestly most likely because of GTA 6. Because this also is most likely the situation. Gamers pre-ordered 35 million copies of $100 all-digital only version of GTA 6. Sony, we will stop making physical media now. Gamers, how did this happen? The opinions of normies are never be taken seriously. in a different video. But you need to remember, young people are ridiculous. This is why you have this team. I'm honestly seeing a lot of social it's the funniest stuff I have ever seen, okay? In any case, we do have a lot of people who literally leave a multi-billion-dollar company alone. And this is not ironic, this is not bots, this is actually somehow real people who we will refer to as NPCs, because that's what they are, defending these practices. Like, look at this. Look at this poorly written essay. Now, it's funny, it's always funny, and this got 600k views. Now, it's the most diabolic, stupid stuff ever, but I love how you could always tell just by looking. I mean, look. Ooh, man, that's a good opinion. Esports on wall. What a badass we got here. Founded of some kind of garbage. AI. That's how you know we're dealing with an intellectual here. Streams, lifestyle, sports, ball, remember that one? Deadly, whatever that is. He forgot to include Red Green here. And for Bob to DM him because he's broke! He's broke! He's poor! Well, like every other person who has this kind of shit thing. But anyway, let's look into this a little bit because, man, the insanity is just special, okay? Here's why Sony is making good right all over. Oh, physical media is all that. Just like CDs and DVDs, it's always going through this idea. When CDs and DVDs disappeared, we didn't have this concept of, oh, we're gonna own membership be happy. So this is already a complete misunderstanding of what is actually happening. We're not actually mad because physical media is on its way out. We're not happy because mostly because that means we can't actually own anything because we're just preventing it. That is because physical media was kind of the last step until we own nothing and be happy. But except we're never happy at this point. However, if Sony wants everyone to go fully digital, they need to let us actually cater or sell games between accounts. This guy actually is dumb enough, by the way, to believe that getting into a physical copy, physical media, is gonna make these companies allow you to install their shit online for less. The absolute the levels of stupidity in this post are truly transcendent, honestly. Physical discs are done in 2028, and that's fine, but right now, digital ownership still feels incomplete. Oh, really? Oh, really? But not for the right reasons. Game sharing would be so much better. But this guy, unironically, this is the whole post, by the way. This guy is like, oh yeah, physical's gonna get removed, and then we're gonna be able to just sell things digitally. Yes, surely. Surely, I mean, obviously. Companies are just gonna allow you to allow themselves to lose all this profit. I'm sure they will. In any case, it's a uniquely stupid opinion. But wait! There's more. Friend of the channel, Asmongold, great guy, I love him a lot. He calls me every day. He talks about Pink Sparkles and how one day he's gonna get her back, but how also kissing men is a little bit better because they're hotter. It is a lot, but I am his best friend, and I'm a nice person, so I listen to him and pretend that I care. In any case, Asmongold, friend of the channel, great guy. And he also has something to say. Now, needless to say, this is not a good opinion, but we're kind of used to it by this point.
I think that they realize that nobody's buying physical media anymore, and it's not worth distributing, producing, and shipping out all of these copies because people just aren't buying them. If you want to ask and you want to wonder why this is happening, it's your fault, it's my fault, it's our fault. If I'm wrong, then why are GameStops full of Funko Pops? Is somebody saying it's Israel's fault? There's a chance that
I'm not gonna say anything, okay?
Israel could be involved in this. There's definitely a high probability, probably between like 80 and 90% chance this is because of Israel. I think that we need to go back to having collector's editions and cool boxes like Warcraft 2. And if you want to have that, I think that you need to be selling these at like a... You need to sell them at a... And I know the...
In any case, you heard it here first, boys. Physical media, bad, obviously. Yeah, the situation is not exactly going good. The only bright side is the fact that Sony, exactly like Steam, is currently getting sued by virtually everyone. And, you know, considering it's Sony, I'm not even mad. The United Kingdom is suing them. The United States is already settling for $8 million, which is peanuts, but at least they're losing money. And the Netherlands, which is not even a real place, somehow managed to sue them for unlawful pricing strategies. Yeah, again, the Netherlands is not real, it's made up. Yeah, the situation is not exactly great. Games preservation leader agrees that piracy is the only preservation option for a diskless future. I agree. If I buy something and I don't own it, then, well, torrenting something is definitely not me stealing. It is what it is. It's very simple, okay? If I give you money for something, but I don't magically own it, well, then, you never owned it also. You know, this is a thing that Ubisoft was forced to learn, and this is something that the games industry is gonna have to learn again.
Up ahead, brothers.
If Steam shuts down tomorrow, I would simply put all my favorite games back to my PC for free. What would you do? Same. Absolutely. I have no idea what the connection is, but it is something. It is something. And at the end of the day, remember, boys, when I said don't worry about the fact that the Steam machine is 1.5K? Don't worry about it, because I said, whatever Sony, whatever Xbox do, their future is 2 times more expensive minimum than the Steam machine. And as we know, as we can see, yes, absolutely yes. Valve once again is gonna win because, I mean, they actually did something this time, but you get the point. Oh yeah. Valve is gonna win because Sony is on a generational... I mean, seriously, Sony probably has lost $2 billion on gaming. Minimum. The acquisition of Bungie was almost $1 billion in potential lost evaluation and potential real money, which is not real money, but you get the point. It's an evaluation, so it matters. And all of the games in the past 5 years have been ridiculously low, and then next upcoming lineup of games is the same type of vibe. So yeah, Sony truly is on a generational run of how can we Minecraft ourselves faster. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like the video, it takes less than a second. If you liked it, there's a green skin. See what happens. People actually do it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe and already appreciate you. Bye.
Gorge leaks out. Rip us better on lava.
All weapons are ready. Scouts here, still engaged. As you order.
every day, more and more people get suspicious. And rightfully so. Is GTA 6 even a real thing? Does it even exist? And the best part, the more you think about this, the more think about this. The pre-orders are already up. And yet, somehow, we have not seen a single second of actual gameplay. Yes, we have trailer 1, but all the things that you've seen some people claim is gameplay is not gameplay at all. It is pre-rendered engine stuff. AK is just a giant movie that they made with their engine. That in no way represents the actual game. So, currently, the pre-order starts. The game is a little bit more than 100 days away from release, and we have yet to see a single slice, a single screenshot. And people say this is gonna be the next thing. This is gonna be something anyone has ever seen before. The NPCs, the everything, the lighting, are we for real? You're telling me an Xbox that struggles to watch almost 100% gameplay games at 60 FPS, and same with PlayStation, obviously, is going to somehow be able to actually, without problems, to run them. That's crazy. Consoles are struggling with 10-year-old
I should have
titles at this
replaced
point.
more of these
Wow,
squishy bits.
most PCs would probably struggle with GTA 6, honestly. But you're telling me that the old console generation is gonna be able to do it on 60 FPS? No. And a lot of people are noticing this, but this doesn't really make sense. And now we have a lot of information about this. A lot of people are speculating it. A lot of actually very credible people, in fact. GTA 6 could skip 60 FPS entirely as Rockstar insane details make towards 30 FPS even on PS5 Pro. I don't know why they say even on PS5 Pro, because yes, well, it's better than Xbox, it's better than PS5. It's still a console, so it's not really good. It's still behind every PC in the world by 5 years. It looks like and if this is real, it's more and more my favorite. The consoles are Let's watch that. Imagine GTA 6 comes out and you get that console bled 30 FPS experience that's still there's less sound, there's less this, there's less that, there's less that. Because everyone at this point knows that you absolutely need to cut things out from the game, from the experience, from the immersion, from the world, to actually make it powerful. Like, this is unexcusable. Now, granted, there are people who are insane, and different, they try to pursue digital now. Hundreds of digital now leaked out. So, why would they be able to cut the things that they make that's supposed to be bigger than Enterprise? It doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, there is obviously the argument that the Rockstar guys shut up. Everyone knows that will make sense. Well, I'm not buying it. If Series X different
for extraction.
consoles, they can downscale different things. That's why you have the PlayStation version of the game. That's why you have the Xbox version of the game. That's why you have the
remembered in the halls of
ultra
glory.
version of the game called Computer. And the fact that Series S can run it on 30 FPS does not in any way mean that PlayStation can do the same, or that it can actually run it more. It's just about optimization for a specific platform. That's literally it. Now, granted, the PlayStation is doing a lot of marketing currently saying, PlayStation 5, brain damage. I mean, the best place to play GTA. Come and get it while it's hot. Yeah, garbage. And anyway, here's the breakdown. The PS5 Pro is roughly 4 times stronger in raw GPU performance. I'm pretty sure computers don't just consist of GPUs. Now, granted, I don't know what else they have in there, but they probably don't just consist of GPUs. Then the Xbox Series S, as the Pro boasts 16.
We finally have Ripper Splitter's location.
Teraflops
Review the mission briefing in your
GPU
map
compared
display
to
and
the
then recover that data.
4.17 teraflops GPU, blah blah blah. The CPU, the CPU architecture is similar. Zen 2 should not be a factor, as the PS5 Pro feels generations ahead of what the Series S can do. I don't even understand this sentence, but it sounds like whatever Zen 2 is, that's actually a part of the Xbox, and it's better than the PlayStation one, but that's not a problem magically. All of this is just gunk, okay? Listen, if someone like me, who is literally the most uneducated person in the room as we are watching this, understands that this is fucking stupid, then there is no chance that anyone who actually understands things is gonna claim anything different, okay? There's just no world where that's true. And people have slowly started looking at a lot of things. For example, there are some insane discrepancies when it actually comes to the GTA 6 marketing. This is what we saw in trailer 2. Yes, look at Jason. You can see how tan he is. You can see a little bit of that Snickers vein action going on in his arm. You can see a lot. You can see the sweat glistening, and you can see individual hair follicles and whatnot. Okay, literally slightly worse than Horizon Zero Dawn's main character's facial hair. Okay, and that's a woman. But in any case, here we now see the new screenshots from 2026 that are supposed to also be from the game, which actually does seem a little bit more likely. And you can see that the difference is kinda night and day, honestly. You can definitely see easily that this is way better than this. And I mean, any pot, pick any pot. You look at the arm, it's totally worse. This is so much worse. Pick the hair, look at this. You can see specific hair strands. Here, no. This is like, you know, your GTA 5 shit, but a slightly better, I guess. And then the diabolic
Commander,
part, if
you
you
must
actually look
return
at
to
this on,
Angel
like, look
Gate.
at this. What in
We
God's
cannot
name
allow the
is
Greenskins
this?
to acquire the
What
weapons
have you
contained in the
done?
storehouses near the
Yeah.
gate.
So if we
If the
actually
Eldar
do
smuggled
have
the orcs
anything
onto
from
Meridian, as you
in-game,
suspect,
this is probably
it must
the
have been
closest
for
we
a
actually
purpose.
have. Maybe
Deploy your
I
squads to
don't
rejoin.
even know if this is real. Maybe not. Probably not. But you know, even this is a huge downgrade from what we actually have seen from the trailers. Then we have this. Then we have the people obviously defending this. People defended the price point. People defended the paywall. Of course, some idiot is literally going to say,
Greenskins to the north, heading for the
FPS is the
storehouses.
best quality for the human experience. People don't see more than 30 frames per second anyway. Your eyes doesn't see it.
Boss wants you to get the Yumi
How did that ever
bits.
become a thing, by the way? How did that slop opinion ever become very popular? I don't know. In any case, why 30 FPS probably isn't as
Reopen
bad
the
as many
gate.
people think. A lot of people act like 30 FPS automatically
The orcs
means
are already
a
at the
game
storehouses,
will
Commander.
feel terrible, because it does. There is a massive difference between 30 FPS and 60 FPS, but that's not always true. A great example is RDR2 on PlayStation 5. Even though it's still locked to 30 FPS, it's one of the smoothest feeling 30 FPS experiences available. Yeah, I mean, again, PlayStation 5 could not run RDR, a 10-plus-year-old. No,
We need to move up
not
quickly.
10 plus. Whatever. It's pretty old. It's pretty old. Can't run that game properly. But again, now it's supposed to run something 3 times as beefy and as good. Thanks to excellent frame pacing. I don't even know if that's a real word. A well-implemented motion blur. Motion blur is horrible. Anyone who defends motion blur deserves the guillotine. And Rockstar's animation quality. The game still feels remarkably fluid. Now, about the animation quality, that is true. Good animations do save FPS. But that is not an excuse to not actually have 60 frames per second. This is dynamic. Some players sitting on a VR or a console at whatever this is, they improve the experience blah. So, effectively, this is just someone found the back end of Rockstar. Now, really hot to make it play. That's what's happening here. Also, a little bit food for thought in case you haven't thought about this. I surely didn't. So, here's a fun fact. It took 196 days for GTA Vice City to come to the PC. It took 210 days for GTA 3 to do the same. It took 375 days. That's I'm pretty sure more days than there is in a year for RDR2 to do the same thing. So how long will it unironically take GTA 6 to come to PC?
At your command.
A decade, maybe? Who honestly knows? There is this, a Rockstar, there's also this, which is probably the funniest thing in the world, and it's the fact that the Rockstar employees are claiming to be attending fire them all, get rid of the dash, tell them what's wrong, Rockstar, get them out, put them on the skills, that's where they belong. Unionization.
This is no military
A union automatically means
These
that
are
you are
relics of the
never
chapter.
gonna be getting an
Those items
actual
match the
real
descriptions of
promotion. It's
relics
not
long
happening.
lost to the chapter.
Unions
You should
are
secure
for
them and await
the
extraction.
people hitting the unions that spend all of that union money on going to luxurious places to fucking museums and shit. Literally, I have seen them do that by the way on a private. And needless to say, considering this is how big yeah, it's gonna be fun. Also, something that no one's talking about is the fact that not only wouldn't slop which is roughly 4 times the size. It's a lot of times. The console's supposed to run something as big as this, but think about it.
Scouts
What
here,
is the
still engaged
actual
by his
average
will.
disk space for a console that people currently have? Is it even a terabyte? I don't know. I have no idea what is the average disk space for a console, but
Angel Gate
GTA
is under
6
attack.
is gonna be like
The Eldar.
500 megabytes,
Infernal.
not
It
megabytes,
must
but
be.
gigabytes or whatever.
Can't get a fix on them. Return fire! Return fire!
It's gonna be
Commander,
massive. So
we'll
if
need
you
your help to
run a
repel the
console,
attack.
you pretty much need a separate
is full of
console to
relics
just
stolen from
run
our chapter.
GTA because you're not gonna have any
Governor is a
room for
thief
anything else.
as well as a coward.
And if you want anything else, you already
Agree
know that
more,
the
Sergeant.
PlayStation
But the fate of
5
Meridian
8
still
terabyte,
rests on holding Angel
disk
Gate.
space is $3,000. So, yeah.
Skin reinforcements.
GTA 6
He is right, Commander.
is cooked.
Cannot allow
It's
Angel
not
Gate
even
to
free, bro. And takes
Go
less than a
save
second.
Angel
I
Gate.
appreciate that.
That's not good. It really hurts. Devastator, ready to go. Another enemy crushed. Helvetus under attack. An allies' forces are under attack. With me! Ally infantry destroyed. Helvetus,
Look alive, brothers.
weather the flag. Helvetus, conserving ammunition.
Four years ago, I stopped dating, and it has been the best thing that ever happened to me. I blocked over 100 men this morning from my TikTok account. Men are so freaking creepy. I'm really trying not to become like a man hater. Every time I give an update about the new Porsche I'm buying, I get so many mean men in my comments. So I've been riding motorcycles for about 20 years now.
It takes firepower to do this.
It is the day of your death, and I am your executioner.
I've been single by I'm running out of time. Would you please help me figure out how to catch myself a husband? Seriously, Kyle, shove it. I really didn't plan on being single for 4 years. Now I'm thinking maybe I'm just taking myself to life. It started out, I'm just
You will not reach eternal time without the detonation. They mean to destroy the forge.
I stopped dating about
And
4
this
years
entire
ago.
world
Got off all the dating apps and like honestly, it isn't that I don't believe in love. I'm actually a Scorpio. Like we live and breathe the pursuit of finding our soulmate. But when
In zodiac signs and in soulmates.
I tell you that I dated, like I literally was on every dating app you could think of. I went on dates at least 3 nights a week trying to find my person. After years, I just said, you know what, I need a break. I deleted all the apps and I thought I was just gonna spend a year focusing on me. But within that year that I took a break, everything in my life started to thrive. Everything just got so much better in my life. That 1 year turned into 4 years now. I'm going back to dating. It would take a literal unicorn falling in my lap for me to like give up my single life now because I'm so happy on my own.
Isn't it funny, guys, that for a woman that is so happy being
Eldar,
single,
our
she talks a
Farseer
lot
prepares
about
to
dating
strike
and
against the
men.
enemy.
Ma'am, when
Defend
you're
her at all
truly happy,
costs.
you don't have to make TikTok videos saying to everybody how happy you are.
Commander,
You're
we
just
are experiencing
enjoying
massive
life.
power
Why
fluctuations.
did you start
Whatever is
making
happening
TikTok
there, you
videos?
must stop
Oh,
it.
because you were bored, because you were missing something in your
Xeno
life,
ambush,
because you already
fire.
have a great job.
Fucking
You
melee.
make a lot of By the way, guys, take your time because there is a very fun
For his loss.
Before I put the story out.
have some friends or groups that are like, you should never get you're in the wrong direction. Just gonna think you're a whore. Okay, maybe for you, Cassandra, but I'm about to let him in my
Eldar
back
grav
door.
tank. Fire prism class.
Then they need to
That
start
cannon blew open the gate.
They really do.
Anti-armor tactics,
I don't know
now!
if you're aware, but all y'all been higher on the space marine. And realize that you have this must not get of a personality.
If you make TikTok videos.
On the side of the road, it's raining, I'm crying, and I'm like, I should have listened to the feminists, they were so right.
What would your ideal first date be? Honestly, for
Moving
me,
to
I
capture.
hate the going out dates, when it's a first date especially. We can make dinner at my place or his place, but you ain't taking me to a restaurant on the first date.
Objective taken.
Okay, so you just smash on the first date. Okay.
Taking me to a bar.
Fall into position,
To
initiate.
the house, we're staying in the living room. No, because I don't want to be seen with him.
She summons the powers of the warp itself.
For sure.
Target in sight.
Where do I find?
We are Beware her sorcery. Keep your distance. More of them. Kill them all.
One
Destroy the Space Marines!
God complex like you have never seen before, and he sits up.
He wasn't ugly. He was above everything. He was the average guy. So stupid guys, they're older. They don't even realize. It's so
None may harm the Farseer so long as we live.
Cyrus here. Going.
Stimulants can revive
I just got out of dance class, I'm so sweaty, it was literally a full body workout, and some guy out of the blue would just like walk straight up to me. How's your workout? And like, it's because that is such a to go out to someone. That is not what I'm advocating, and lately, this is why
Your command, concentrate fire.
That's right.
Wounds of Alphanash!
If you get offended by any of these,
Her shield is down. Strike before it can recharge.
bad communication.
If you're a whole cut.
I never thought that would be 32 years old. Gate crashing my brother and my sister-in-law's couples holiday. And for a really long time, I have felt like I'm all of my friends are married. They've been with their partners since they're 20, and I've never been able to have the same experience with them. And I know that there are a lot of others than I am. And I just wanted to come on here to say that life doesn't
More of them.
when you're younger.
Kill
Just because
them
it doesn't look the
all.
way that you thought it would doesn't mean that it's wrong. I've never
Damnation, we need support. Understood. Hold
If you're a
fast.
failure, man, just say that you're a failure.
Have it a quick.
Don't try to make your something more.
Sergeant Tarkus and Terminator Squad reporting for duty, Commander.
It's so stupid.
I stand with my brothers, Eldar.
Terminator.
Where did it come from?
They were the centerpiece of Vandus' collection. Now let us finish with these Xenos. Emperor be praised.
But you
something happens to women in the 36, 37, 38 bracket where they start to look in the mirror and panic if they're single, because that's the first time that you realize that you're not 25 anymore, right? And I'm being honest with you. Things start to change. Now, if you're married, if you have your kid, if you've got your man, if you've got your boyfriend,
Why seek to doom these worlds?
Maybe for some that are getting a boatload of attention, I was on television, it's a different world. Maybe you don't feel it as much because you still feel like you have a ton of options, but there is something that happens when the panic steps in.
My friends were going to parties, having fun. I felt like I was missing something, so I broke up with him. You don't know what you have until you don't have it. There was no one that even remotely compared to him.
Save
and
your
then
excuses,
I wanted him
witch.
back. I begged
Angel
him, I
Forge
pleaded,
is
I cried,
secure,
and he
your
said his
life
heart
is
was
at its
too
end.
broken. I'm the one that made the mistake. Really hard lesson learned. I'm tired of doing it myself. I'm tired of being alone. I'm 53.
This victory will long be remembered in the halls of glory.
It will be interesting, guys, to see if that first woman in the video, when she's 50 something, if she will still have that attitude of being single and happy.
So how are we figuring out like when men are actually like telling the truth or not? Because I feel like I'm having deja vu. It's like Groundhog's Day out here with how often men are showing up full interest, like being intentional, doing all the right things, saying all the right things, but following that up with action as well. So it's not just words. And then just like one day waking up and saying, oh, I can't do it. I don't want a relationship.
Even if the guy, let's say he really wants a relationship and he's not lying, he can also become
Commander,
like that. How?
I commend you on your
By
leadership
seeing
in
that
this.
you have red flags and understanding that you're not wife material. So all of a sudden, he changes his mind.
I will be happy with all of these scenarios that life can present me. Getting married and having kids, great. Getting married and not having kids, great. Not having kids, not getting married, great. Not getting married and having kids on my own, great. And because I'm so content with all of those options being a possibility for my future, I have no stress in my life because one of those is going to happen and it's what's meant to happen.
Ever since I was about 12, 13 years old, I have been rewarded for my appearance by men. And because I've been rewarded for my appearance and the fact that I have pretty privilege by men,
Ma'am, I don't know whoever told you that you have pretty privilege, but they lied to you. And I'm not trying to be an asshole, ma'am. I don't know how old you are and I don't care. First of all, your face is full of piercings. That's not attractive. Second of all, your face is not symmetrical. The more symmetrical your face is, the more attractive you are. Third of all, ma'am, I can see from your face that you're overweight. You have a lot of fat in your face, ma'am. So how can you say you have pretty privilege? Those guys lied to you, ma'am. Oh my God, guys, the level of delusion that these women have is crazy to me, guys. It's crazy. We're just going to skip this video because it's very stupid.
I don't know how to say this without it potentially coming across wrong, but fuck it, I'm gonna try. I'm the only single one in my girlfriend's group, and that is so totally fine, okay? I'm so happy for my friends that they've found their person. They're in happy, thriving relationships. They've got their kids, and that's amazing. However, I'm at that part in my life where I'm like, oh yeah, I could actually do with that. Like, I don't drink, I don't party, I don't do any of that stuff, and like, I spend most of the weekend by myself. And it kind of sucks because my friends are my people, but my people have their own people. That's not me. But
Okay, ma'am, but let me ask you this. What were you doing in your 20s? How come you're not married? How come you didn't find a guy in your 20s, ma'am? What other things did you prioritize over finding the husband in your 20s that led you to this path, ma'am?
that doesn't mean that I'm not important to them. It just means that they've got other people to spend time with and I don't. Yeah, and when you really want that thing, you can't help but feel different when you see that everyone else has that thing. Anyway, I've started dating again, so we'll see how that goes. But does anyone else feel like this?
Yes, ma'am. Hundreds and thousands of women that I post in my videos feel the exact same as you, ma'am.
I just can't do this fucking shit anymore. I have to match with a man on a dating app one more time. Talk about what I do for work, my favorite food, my favorite movie, what I do in my free time, the music I listen to. I'm going to fucking explode. Go on a date for just like shits and gigs. I'm an intentional dater. I want to get to know someone, so then you have these conversations over and over and then nothing comes from it.
I'm dead serious when I say that guys really enjoy making they actually get off of that. They like it when she's mad, but if you make him mad, he won't talk to you. Like, he'll avoid you. He'll turn his back away. He won't text you. Us girls, we deserve attention. And we...
Another woman talking about what she deserves. From the start, when a woman says that she deserves a certain thing, you know that she's very entitled and very narcissistic, and you should run away, guys. She's not wife material. We're just going to skip this video because it's very stupid.
So I just had a conversation with one of my friends about this tweet I read on how all girls should try and bring up astrology on the first date. Not because it indicates compatibility or shared beliefs, but because the question itself will naturally self-identify men who might be condescending or arrogant or just completely incapable of entertaining ideas that they don't agree with. Can you engage with an idea that you don't immediately need to conquer? Or
no, ma'am, and it's because there are studies that show that people that believe in astrology have a lower IQ and are very narcissistic. So when I hear a woman talking about astrology from the start, I know to run away.
Let's normalize telling people they positively suck, because it's honestly getting out of hand. Like, they're taking it, they're dragging it now.
Yes, ma'am, I tell people they're stupid all the time, ma'am.
You know things are getting bad when I'm defending a 21-year-old man. Also, ignore this. I need this to not scar. But here we go. Am I overreacting? Recently went on a date, one of my first in college. We dated for a few weeks, and she called it off because I'm too unattractive. Just wait. This girl says, because I value transparency too and don't like to waste anyone's time, I feel like we click super well, but I just don't find you even a little handsome. However, on paper, I feel like we work so well. I mean, you go to Tennessee, I'm moving there in July, you're really funny, I feel comfortable around you, yada, 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 yada.
This is exactly how women friend zone guys and go for the bad boys. And after 30, after they're tired of dating the Chads,
Commander,
after
we have finally located the orc.
The Chads, then they come back to the nice guy, to this guy that was 21 back then, and now he's 30-something. And now he has more experience, and now he has more money. Some guys, because they will get back this woman. Why? Because when she was 21, she had a crush on her.
Like, literally everything is there that clicks so well, except me being physically attracted to you at all. If it helps, I want to stay friends. I think you're really cool.
Eliminate those arts.
reason because he had a fun little habit where he liked to break into businesses in Oregon, rob them blind, and then cross state lines into Washington and set up an underground market situation to sell everything.
She's also the problem because she's attracted to those kinds of men.
I'm 39. I am single. I don't have children. I call myself child-free by circumstance. I want to say that I may be moving quickly, but I'm still undecided having children by the age of 39. Decisions basically been made for me.
True.
I can't see.
What man in his 40s that wants to have a kid would go for a woman that is 39? Just think about it, ma'am. Until you find that guy that you want to have kids with, until you get married and then have a kid, how many years will pass till then? So you're now 42, 43, 45. At one point, you just give up, ma'am.
Disagree with this. First of all, plenty of women have children in their 40s.
That doesn't mean anything, ma'am. Just because you read in the papers of some celebrity that has kids in her 40s, 100 women that have kids in their 40s, you don't hear about the other 1,000 women that tried and failed to have kids in their 40s.
The Notebook is the worst movie ever, and it completely ruined women. Most Hollywood movies are conditioning women to disrespect their man and conditioning men to accept the disrespect. I call this cuck programming.
In The Notebook, she cheated on her fiancé. In the Titanic, she cheated on her fiancé. But just think about it, guys. Those movies are presented like love stories. When every woman in that movie cheated, and there are several more.
Want men to become weak, feminized cucks? In The Notebook, you see that the fallen nature of a woman is to create chaos. Stability and structure is too boring for her. Nothing is ever good enough. Lon was the perfect husband. There was nothing wrong with him. He loved her, he wasn't abusive, he never yelled at her or hit her. But that still wasn't good enough for her because she cheated on him with Noah. This is the dilemma of the modern woman. Nothing is good enough for her.
Men don't care.
No, best
We
believe
don't
men don't
care.
care. You ain't met my man.
Пиздец.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Millennial Smark, and I'm bringing you the slop, the whole slop, and nothing but the slop. And I want you for the first time ever to stop, pause, and analyze what I said in that intro. I'm bringing you the slop, the whole slop, and nothing but the slop. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not just a wrestling commentary channel, I am a wrestling slop tuber, okay? Take pride, embrace that. All 5 therefore now making it qualified. So with that being said, I can't remember which one to talk first. Just start.
Yes, it is. Ready for something in this specific conversation. Remembering this? It was Arby's?
Okay, this pops me every time
Yeah.
because
Now
you
you
would
are a
always say
devastated
rallies.
brother. But it was
because-
Arby's.
But it was always
Adjust your
Arby's.
positions.
And for some reason, it would always make me mad that you would say Arby's, or say rallies when it was Arby's. But
Because you wouldn't be eating rallies.
no.
Okay, so I'm gonna fast forward past this part to get directly into the meat and potatoes of the matter, but I couldn't help but not leave this part out. I can't leave this part out because I'm tired of all you Northerners.
Soldiers trying to
Tired of all
precise
you
count.
West Coast people. I'm tired of you people on the Northeast. I think there's a special place in hell for people who call it rallies. It's not rallies.
Strike may do the work
It's
of
checkers.
1,000 excellent space marines.
It's always been checkers. That's the only way I feel like satisfaction will be succeeding in some kind of way. Okay, let's get to the meat and potatoes of this whole thing.
You were working there, you were doing some extra work, and it was COVID bubble. End of it, a lot of us in the hotel, and I had a workplace proximity associate, Aaron Solo. He often talked about you very fondly and very sincerely. He's, oh, she's so pretty and she's really smart, and this whole thing. And finally, he didn't talk a lot, if you remember. He's very not.
He's like a mute.
Not Mr. Personality, right?
Yeah.
I often the last time I saw him.
Okay, so you guys are not familiar.
until your
This
next
is
deployment.
Aaron Solo. He was also, I believe, on AEW. I can't remember what group he was with. I don't know if it was the Don Callis family or if he was with, like, I don't know, like one of Jericho's $1,000,001 fucking stables. I don't know, and I don't care, nor do I remember, nor do I care. Did I say I don't care? Because I really, really don't fucking care. But most people know him as being Mr. Bailey, right? That's Bailey's ex-boyfriend. And it's like, here's my thing. That's a little places like he'll go on later to call him like someone who he would consider a friend today, right? For the most part, even though he had to reintroduce himself to him. But nevertheless, though, it's someone that, let's just say you're acquaintances with at the very least, right? But someone that you would call a friend nowadays. Why? Because right saying that the man is, for all intents and purposes, what it sounds like you're essentially confirming he's an introvert, right? So he's quiet, he doesn't bother anybody. As you said, he's got Mr. Personality. So why in God's damn of all hell did you go out of your way to not only name drop the dude? Mind you, I'm doing it now because this is already out there. I'm already talking about the situation because you out there, I knew nothing about the situation. But why would you go out of your way to bring up the man knowing he's this private, he's this shy, he's this introverted, and you're about to put up a gold glass in front of the girl that he likes? What? And you're doing this not only in front of the girl that he had a crush on, but you're doing it in front of millions of people who are watching your show, or I guess in your case, in regards to your podcast, probably thousands. But at the very least, still a respectable number nonetheless, right? You're doing it in front of a lot of people. You're doing it to an extent that the IWC is hearing this. So you're about to put him on blast to the point that if he ever says anything in the future, all they have to do is pull up this clip. But that's your homie? Come on now. But it gets much worse. Let's get into what he's actually going to say in order to out this man for no fucking reason. No one pulled this story out of him. He said it with all the free will that he had to muster up.
Because that's how limited our conversations have become over the years. But I think we're kind of friends.
Well, I didn't have this video, not anymore, because, well, you're a cunt.
Anyways, he had said so much that finally we all just were like, well, you should talk to her. This is a basic common, you learn this in high school. You learn this before. You should say something. You should say hello. You should ask her if she wants to hang out. You should do anything other than talk to us about it.
Yeah, God forbid he talks to his friends in order to build up the confidence and courage to go talk to a girl who probably is way above his pay grade. What the fuck, bro? Why? Hey, guys, I'm just gonna say this outwardly in public, that this guy over here, who's probably like in his early 20s to mid 20s, he's having this conversation with us, trying to build up his confidence because he's super shy. Like, he's dipping his fingertips together and shit like that. Hey, look, people are like, Devontae, don't make fun of this, man. You already said that you're mad at Cody for doing it. He put it out there, okay? This is the consequences of Cody Rhodes' rhetoric. Why would you do this to this man? Why would you say this to this? Why would you do this, bro? Hey, guys, this is a tool that we learn in high school. It's to talk to girls. Yeah, you can come to me and you can hang down and guys, she's just so pretty. Oh gosh. Oh man, if only she noticed me. He flings his hair to the side like an emo kid or some shit like that. Like, bro, why are you saying this, bro? Why are you saying this?
And we were all sitting right adjacent to the elevators, Marriott, Jacksonville, Florida. And it's important
there is the belching contraption.
The correct food.
Deploy anti-vehicle weapons.
RC Sapri needs commission. And you had a bit of a social club there. I felt there was a crew. There was a good crew. And you guys always seem to be in good spirits, which is nice for me because my time there was I'm gonna go say hi to him.
He is just as weak and pathetic as the others.
Great, this is
once you crack his
Here he
shell.
goes. Now we're watching, and we're not roasting him. We're not giving him a hard time. We're sincerely looking, hoping. Hope this goes well. Like, no one is making fun of him, which is normally what guys I feel like would do to each other.
Except that you're low-key doing it right now. Like, that's literally what you're doing right now. That's the whole reason you're telling the story, Cody, is because you're making fun of him. Look, here's the case. It'd be one thing if it was a situation where Aaron is sitting right next to you and maybe he could be in on the joke, but the fact that he's not there and you're talking to a girl that he has a crush on, and who knows, she might have friends in AEW or something like that who may go, oh, man. This is Percy over there trying to talk to Fallon Henley. I hope he doesn't try to come talking to me. You're swinging looking at That's what you're doing. So many people are clowning him right now. I've seen a post from one of these dumbass wrestlers. I'll probably put it here, right? It says something along the lines of, well, I mean, Arby's, am I right? Or something. Aaron Solo in the background. He has like a what appears to be a history on his neck. This is why would you well as a response to what Cody is saying with Fallon context. She's probably laughing as a awkward, type of laugh, like a. This is more honor. He's telling this story about Aaron Solo being such a noob, but like. I mean, ahead, brothers. Yeah. Like, in fact, I would like to if I was I so many things could have went right. Cody had to be Cody. Come on, bro. You're doing way worse than making fun of him. Continue, though.
And you walk past, so he missed that first opportunity. And then it's even weirder now because he trails you to the elevator and you have a move, so it's not looking good. And you turn and you smiled at him. You were very nice. And
I like to think I'm a nice person.
Yes, and then he just looked at you and he said, Arby's, huh? And you went, and I feel like I could hear you say it because we were far away at this point, and then I just heard, yeah. And then the elevator door shut in my story, and you went away. And then he came back to us as if, why would you even walk back to us? Walk to your car, drive away, leave the city, don't ever, that's all that talk. So like a month of build up, all that for that moment.
Quickly. Oh God, you a bitch, Cody. I can't stress this enough. Why are you telling this story? Why? What way is this productive to anybody's career or anything in regards to your whole little podcast? It clicks, right? Got me to talk about it at the very least. So maybe that's the whole reason. But boy, oh boy, you said this man trailed her to the elevator, seen her, said, Arby's, huh? And then she goes, yeah. And then he comes back to the elevator, and you guys said, why? Turn around. You're the equivalent of Magic Carpet. Add no effects. Leave the lobby. Go in your car.
Serving ammunition.
Like, where are we right now? Okay, where are we? Are we in California right now? Are we in fucking Florida, Jacksonville, wherever fucking AEW is located at? Okay, go drive to Scandinavia, okay? Go drive to Australia, okay? In fact, fuck it all. Go drive to Antarctica. If you can do yourself a favor, we'll pull some money together. And you can be the first person on Mars, okay? Just get far and far away from this location as humanly fucking possible.
Look alive,
but at the same time,
no one is making kill, which is normally what guys I feel like they do each other.
Just to follow it up with.
Leave the city. Don't ever leave. That's all that talk. So all that for that moment.
You know, I'm not gonna lie to you, low key. Just hearing like that side by side. Now that I'm looking at it, bro, there's something about that seems really mischievous. That goes even far beyond just this commentary video right here. Like, Cody, you're talking out of both sides of your fucking mouth. Yeah, well, I mean, guys, we're not gonna make fun of him, you know, or anything like that, but also, you fucking dork, loser, bitch, you should probably get in your car, drive, go far away. In fact, if you can, probably drive off a bridge. You know, in fact, head on collision with another car. Make the story about something else. Get the story directly off of you. Like, what are you doing, bro? Again, I hear how he's talking, and there's just something about this whole story that just permeates, it excretes like manipulation, two-sidedness, two-facedness, whatever you want to call it, bro. There's something about Cody Rhodes that screams politician to me a little bit every time he talks like this. And if you can't see it in any of his other, you know, formal conversations when talking about the business or anything like that, I think this story right here, which in all honesty, let's just, you know, let's not take it too seriously now, folks.
Good
in all
work,
honesty,
Commander.
at the end of the day, you hear this story. It's quite embarrassing for an Aaron Solo, and quite frankly, if that was my homie, we have to run the fade like twice. Again, every time I see you, until like I feel like I got it all out of my system, I'm gonna have to run the fade with you. But at the same time, though, for all intents and purposes, when you take it into its actual context and you look at it on the surface level, it's not really that big of a deal. But I will say, though, there is a part of me that actually sees this, and there is a part of me that makes me think like, okay, well, if you're talking like this with such a pretty, you know, blasé story, you know, inconsequential story for the most part, right, then what and how am I supposed to hear or take you seriously when you're having a legitimate conversation about the business overall, especially when expressing something that's including you?
He shot his shot. And, you know, nice guy.
Very nice.
Right?
Very nice.
Nice guy. Did you have any interaction after that? Or was it just that story that bonded you? Just because I think I brought it up to both of you at one point.
You did. You'd bring it up every time you saw me.
I do, yeah. Yes.
Still
it
do.
was a significant moment.
It's pretty funny.
I needed it at the time.
It was good.
Yes, okay.
But no, I don't think there was ever any interaction past.
So you feel I probably, now that we're doing this podcast together, you're on SmackDown, you're cruising, we should get a new story.
Can I answer that for her, Cody? Yes. Yes, I think you should get a new story. I think you should probably not use someone's most embarrassing moments in order to use as some segue when talking about the worst times that was possibly happening in your professional career. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. I'm just going to say that, okay? I'm going to just say that if I got some homies, even worse in the way that you're painting them out right now, like you guys are friends right now for the most part, right? But more or less you guys were acquaintances, and you know, maybe you guys aren't really talking too much right now because he's in AEW and you're in WWE. I think he's in AEW at the very least. Maybe not best when you're talking to him and her at the same time to constantly embarrass him over and over and over and over again. Mind you, would have been bad enough if you did that in public, because I don't know, call me crazy. When I got homies and they're around girls or their exes or whatever the case may be, I tend to stay away from the part when they're, call me crazy, super embarrassed, so I don't embarrass them even further and put the girl in an awkward spot. And mind you, I learned this when I was like, I don't know, like 14, 13 years old. You know, I'm 34 right now, right? A lot of empathy, a lot of iDubbbz empathy happening in this bitch right now. I'm just gonna say that maybe not the best thing in the world to do, Cody. And you can hear Fallon Henley. She's trying to chuckle it away. She's trying to like get around this whole story topic and everything like that, because it's pretty clear that she doesn't want to talk about this anymore. And you know, you can stop,
Commander.
Anytime. But you continued. I cut a lot of this shit out, by the way. This video, as far as this portion of it, goes like 5 minutes of them talking about this whole entire situation. I just cut out a bunch of filler. Moral of the story is, if Cody is your homeboy, it's probably best to get different homeboys. It's probably best to get better acquaintances. Maybe I might even say friends. I don't know Cody all too well to go to the actual personal relationships with his friends, but as far as acquaintances are considered,
drop zone secure, Commander.
Don't tell Cody anything. Just go do it. Better yet, you know, in the case of Aaron Solo, Mr. Emo hair flip, you know, tip of the fingers touching together, uwu. Maybe just do the damn thing. And you probably know this already, okay? I'm pretty sure Fallon Henley said she was in AEW, so this is probably like 6-7 years ago. So you guys probably put it behind yourselves before Cody brought it back up to the forefront again to embarrass you in front of millions of people. Just saying, for future reference, Cody Rhodes, don't tell him any of your business, because when you tell Cody Rhodes your business, it somehow becomes our business, even if we didn't want it to be our business. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Devontae, it must be a slow news day for you to be talking about something like this. How's it going? Yes. Holy shit, going on. And it's not really that big of a deal. Outside of the fact so right now, right here on the
At your command. I am well, brother. Taking up a new station. Destination confirmed.
Hi, I'm Arthur, and a fun fact about anyone who plays 40k, they are always one bad day away from picking up Custodes. I am one of those individuals, as on several occasions I have considered grabbing Custodians and possibly playing Shadow Wardens, as I am an edgelord with no friends and want to keep all my shinies and evil relics to myself. I believe I made a Custodian video a while back, but I think it's time for a fucking update, as it's been long enough that I think I have learned a lot more and can discuss them a bit more. And also, I'm going to discuss the side pieces today as well. Now so, in one big hurrah, guardians in the universe. If you run the ones with these guys, you're gonna lose, unless you are literally the pinnacle of your specific faction. There are cases in which Space Marines have gone pretty toe-to-toe with Custodes, maybe once or twice, but never win unless there's some serious warp fuckery afoot. But what exactly is a Custodes? Why are they so powerful, and why is it people keep talking about them in the modern day with the face turning so bright red and puffy that they resemble a Gossamer from Looney Tunes shaved? Yes, I know that reference is like 80 years old. Fuck off. In order of those questions, the answers are the greatest super soldiers, the Emperor made them, and I'm not answering that. But to get into specifics, the Custodes are the handcrafted individual masterpiece soldiers and bodyguards the Emperor made, with an unfortunately high amount of reasoning as to why. Like, for one, he needed bodyguards, and two, he needed confidants who were loyal to only him. Which I should also add as a note, being only loyal to him also means they are not loyal to the Imperium. They only respect the word directly from him, not from some policy he enacted as a governing body. So the Imperium does not hold any sway over them. It does not matter who you are in the Imperium, unless you are directly related to the Emperor, they will not respect you in the slightest. And even then, barely. Like Guilliman? They barely listen to Guilliman, to the point where Guilliman has to have a specific high-ranking custodian that he speaks to in order for them to listen to him. They also existed in order for them to deal with tasks that could only be completed by the most capable and trusted of the Emperor's creations, like, say, the Solar Watch. Custodians that, even after the Edict of Restraint was removed, which was the edict stating that the custodians had to stay on Terra to defend the throne, once that was gone, they still adhered to what their title's namesake implied, meaning that they would never leave the Sol system and defended specifically Terra and any threat that could exist towards Terra. Thus, they watched the system of Sol. And then you have things like the Shadow Wardens, the Custodes responsible for the guardianship of the dark cells of Terra. These individuals in particular are known for being an unhappy bunch, but enough talk about that. Let's get even further into the nitty-gritty. A Custodes is usually a little taller than your average Space Marine, Primaris Marine, at about 9 feet tall, but the height of a Custodian does not matter nearly as much in comparison to their abilities, which are formatted in a very different way than in comparison to that of a Space Marines. See, Space Marines are boys who are forced to go through surgery from a young age, usually around, usually between the ages of 10 to 14, adding organs and technological components in order to make them the best possible soldiers on a mass-produced scale. Think of a factory dedicated to mass production of high-quality electronic goods and high-quality cars. With Custodes, you have to see their creation more similar to that of an artisanal watchmaker, where each individual gear is handcrafted for the watch in turn, and at the end of it, all of them have the same purpose and accomplish the same goals. As Custodes are needed to be grabbed at an incredibly young age, usually somewhere before the age of 1. They have to be quite literally a baby, and very rarely are they grabbed older than that. I know that there is some instances of, like, at the latest, a 4-year-old being grabbed, but I digressed. And their induction into the ranks of the Custodes is not nearly as invasive as the Space Marine gene seed surgeries, as they go through non-invasive gene therapies and a bunch of unique treatments that do not add organs, but instead cause organs to develop in their body naturally as they age. Thus why they are picked up by the age of like 1 or younger, because as the human body develops, it will grow into what is needed to become a custodian. These non-invasive means are actually unique to each Custodes, and I know that that is kind of thrown around a lot, and we have very scant records as to describing why it is described that each Custodes is unique through the process of their own creation. But if I were to extrapolate and maybe add my own 2 cents into the matter, no 2 Custodes are alike. Though their abilities and attributes are basically the same on a top-down level, being the best of the best of the best, it is strictly because all Custodes need to perform on the same level, so custom-fit genetic treatments are used to modify their bodies without the implantation of new organs. It's why you can take a child from any color or creed, and no matter what their base strain of humanity is, they will be able to be modified into a custodian. They modify their bodies without the implantation of new new organs, basically modifying the endocrine and hormonal systems of a developing child to create the necessary structures in their body, taking the genetics of that child and then creating something new dependent on who they are, finding out what the best means of creation would be. This, as it is a non-standard protocol per person, probably costs what would be considered trillions by today's standards, but it's the 41st millennia. They probably have a lot of money to go around. Due to the individual nature of the Custodes creation, you'd think that they'd have a wide variety of strengths depending on the person, and you'd be wrong, as the expressed purpose of a Custodes creation is to make the individual best at everything, hyper-intellectual, hyper-strong, hyper-fast, and impossibly quick to react and process information, as well as interface with the specialized war gear that you're going to have. Which, by the way, the war gear that they have is so high quality that it is considered a disgrace if a Space Marine handles it. The pinnacle of the pinnacle. The Custodes without weapons and armor are created so powerful that if we stopped there and just gave them flak armor and a lasgun, they would still be considered the greatest mortal fighters in history. But nah, instead they are equipped with likely the best weapons in the history of the setting, which once again, it is implied that it takes centuries to make these almost indestructible weapons and armor. One of my favorite lore tidbits about 40k is of the storm shields of the Blade Guard veterans. It is actually said that their specific shields take about a decade of crafting to actually make a single one, because it requires a level of circuitry understanding and a small team to work on it almost daily in order for it to be produced. It is implied that even the most mundane of custodian gear, like the Guardian Spear, takes about 4 to 5 times that in terms of time to create, which for those who don't know, it literally just looks like a power lance with a bolt gun strapped to it, and from a gameplay perspective, it's basically that but a little bit better. But it's not. It's actually one of the most dangerous weapons that you could see someone wield. But yeah. I can't go too in depth about the tech, as its creation is a secret, but the various weapons such as the Guardian Spear, the Castellan Axe, the Power Talons, and more specialized power weapons are so dangerous and so costly to make that to own a single one would be like having something worth its weight in gold if gold was worth 1 billion times more than it actually was. And don't even get me started about Custodes armor.
Ambush.
The armor of a Custodes is made of Auramite, ceramite, like a Space Marine. Auramite is some magical bullshit that is somehow more dense and usable than plate steel, but also more resistant to heat than that of tungsten. It's the same shit the Emperor's armor is made of, and it shows, because one of the phrases I tend to use involving Custodes, regardless of what game you're included in, is simply the phrase, "I hope you like having to roll 2 up." And that's because they hit on 2s, they usually wound on 2s, and they have a 2-up armor save pretty much army-wide no matter what piece you're running, unless you're running Sisters of Silence. I don't think anything has anything less than a 2-up outside of that. The Custodes are so powerful that a force open fire! Amongst their ranks, but even then, that weakness, and I say weakness with pithy air quotes, is covered in the next topic I want to discuss, which is the Sisters of Silence. Okay, so the Sisters of Silence are probably one of the most overlooked but badass sub-factions in the entire setting, and I will not hear otherwise. They are often overlooked as simply the Custodes' anti-psyker tool, which is such an understatement as to be insulting once you learn more about them, as they are trained so much that in terms of combat prowess, they could actually have a fighting chance in one-on-one combat with Space Marines of all things. They have training so intense and so brutal that they are in lockstep with Custodes for most of their adventures. They don't fight nearly as close to the other Custodes as you think. They are still humans after all, albeit heavily augmented humans, but I do think they are above Sisters of Battle, but below Space Marines in terms of skill. But the main thing that separates them from the majority armies of the Imperium is simply put, variety. So now that we kind of guessed a little, let's get into specifics about the I've ever heard a variety as learned as I could have.
Standard movement.
I could also just look it up to see if there was. But regardless, the pariah gene has a bunch of different effects. But due to some conflicting sources, we don't have a really concrete answer as to what it actually does. But in simplest terms, the pariah gene causes a person who has it to interact with the warp in the same way you putting regular gas into a diesel car would. That is to say that they do not interface with the normal spiritual world the whole universe does, and in fact destroys/disrupts it. Now, there is a theory that blanks don't have souls, but in The Voice, a pretty decent short story about Sisters of Silence, it is discovered that it is possible for Sisters of Silence to make deals with warp entities for whatever soul they have. There is also a theory that blanks are actually an inverted psyker, where instead of exerting their force of will onto the universe is exerting within you, giving you a null space. Think of it like a gravity well, which is a scientific concept, which I'm not going to pretend to say that I know how it works, but basically a gravity well needs to exist in order for gravity to function correctly in the universe. I think the real answer is somewhere in between, where in 40K the religious often intersects with the scientific, so it would make the most sense to be somewhere in the middle of those two answers. Regardless, as 40K's setting goes, if you are sentient and sapient and particularly emotional, you have, I guess for lack of a better term, a spark, a flame. This spark shines inside the warp in a way that is kind of noticeable. Think of it as like a mirrored universe where the light of a person's soul is reflected in place of their physical body. The average human is simply a match in the dark. The more psychic a race is, the more that they are represented in that world. So a human would be a match, an Eldar that is non-psychically inclined is a torch that is burning brightly in the warp. Blanks, on the other hand, do not appear in the warp, and in fact, they are seen as an abscess, a shadow that eats away at the light around it like an inverted flame burning away paper made of light. Now you might ask, what would it be like to be this sort of person, and why would it be useful? And the answer is, it's incredibly shitty. Existing around blanks kind of sucks, even if they are untrained. Blanks constantly exert an aura of fuck you, which makes you feel like the light is being sucked out of the world. They are literally just walking depression. Like, you ever get the ick from someone and not know why? They just seem normal, but like, you're just around them and you just feel uncomfortable? Yeah, it's like that, but times 10 and always. They just make people feel yucky, like they're draining the vibes out of the room, and this often leads to blanks either being murdered in the crib by parents who think their child is a weird psychic mutant or some kind of demon. But if they survive long enough, trust me, it actually gets worse. As the pariah gene develops, these children often get outcast from whatever village or community they're in and can only really band together with others of their kind, but pariahs are incredibly rare. So the statistic that I usually hear bandied about is for every billion people there is one psyker, and for every billion psychers there is one blank. So it's very rare that multiple blanks can be found in a single spot, but it does happen from time to time, especially in these mega colonies. But if they are neither killed nor outcast nor grow up too quickly nor are a guy, they can get picked up and inducted into the Silent Sisterhood. with the purpose of hunting psychers as well as fighting demons now. Now, why specifically psychers? As I mentioned, it sucks to be around them, but if you're a psyker, it fucking double sucks. On top of it sucking, if they are a trained blank, like a Sister of Silence on the upper echelons of the ranks, you could die if you are a psyker and you're getting a bit too close to them. As the flame, the spark I mentioned, a psyker is like a bonfire, and that is basically your life essence. If you are near a sister, they snuff that out, and that can cause a lot of trauma to people who are usually pretty frail to start with. They literally sever your connection to the warp just with their presence, which is why they are incredibly useful to the forces of the Custodes, which do not have psychers for a myriad of reasons, which again we'll cover in the next section after we cover Sisters. But the Sisters of Silence have a hierarchy, and to ascend it requires training and discipline, the likes of which that you would likely never see in any other regiment for the entirety of the Imperium, because this stuff would actually break a common person. But goddamn, do they do it? A big one is for the first two major ranks, you're actually still allowed to speak. There's the Acolytes and the Novice Sisters of Silence. They can actually speak using their own voices. It's kind of, discouraged, but they still do it from time to time. The main reason why is because they need to learn the major ways of communication that these Sisters of Silence use in the day-to-day life in the higher ranks. Yeah, these bitches have numerous different ways of communicating through different hand gestures of different names. The main one is that there is Thought Mark and there is Battle Mark, which are the main ones that we kind of know about. There are a few others, like there's one that's basically just a transcribed version of Thought Mark that is used to basically convey messages over long distances through a digital medium, because if you're speaking to someone over a walkie-talkie, well, they can't speak, so they need to have a way to convey their ideas. But regardless, Battle Mark is taught first, usually to the Acolyte upon first induction into the ranks of the Sisterhood. And it's because it's very easy to learn. It is wide motions that do not have much grace to them and can be easily interpreted and seen on the battlefield, and thus the name Battle Mark. Single word phrases used to convey short meaning in battle. It is a very important thing to learn because you can't just go into a very complex soliloquy with your hand gestures during, a gunfight. So, yeah, the big thing here is that Battle Mark is often regarded as context-based. As I mentioned, it's single words per hand gesture that are only used for the battlefield. So, say a sister is right in front of you and there is a door in front of you. The sister could look at you and do the sign for door with an additional sign for fire. It could mean that she wants you to burn the door down, or it could mean that there is a fire behind the door. It all depends on the situation and if there's smoke already coming out from behind the door. Then you have thought form, which takes longer to learn and thus is stressed for those who are going to take the vow of tranquility, which is the vow to never speak again that you need to take in order to graduate from being a novice sister to a null maiden, which is basically the bottom rank. Thought form is a flowery, flowing form of traditional sign language that can convey more complex thoughts and ideas, basically their way of conversing just normally with their normal sisters, as well as communicating with Custodes and other workers of the Imperium. It's a very important thing to have. But yeah, once those have been mastered and the sister is well versed enough in combat, they become a Sister of Silence, true and blue, with the rank of Null Maiden, like I said, equipped with special power armor made to maximize agility as well as increase the output of their blank abilities. They are given numerous different arrays of weapons, from special flamethrowers that burn psychers, witch seeker bolts for bolt guns, as well as special swords for Oblivion Knights that are able to rip through psychers and cause a special high damage. The main thing that all sisters are equipped with are specialized grenades and specialized tools. The main grenade that you're going to see on all of them is the Psych Out grenade, which just obliterates psychers, turns them to a pile of regretful ash on the ground. So there are further ranks that you could have probably heard me talking about throughout this section, like Oblivion Knights and Knights Abyssal, Centuras, and so on and so forth. But you can kind of figure out that they're just Sister of Silence, but better with a higher rank. They command more people, they command more individuals, and so on. They usually are dispersed throughout the universe as well, though a lot of them are on Terra at any given point. They often have a wide range of weapons dedicated to killing psychers and demons, as since demons are things of the warp, they tend to not do well with anti-warp shenanigans, and thus their purposes can be a little bit more hyper-specialized depending on what they're sent with. See, Space Marines need help dealing with demons, you could easily send in a squad squad of Sisters of Silence and make the entire combat a little bit easier to deal with. Or you could send in, Grey Knights, which I guess also works. Not nearly as cool. But regardless, alongside that main purpose of killing things, they're also very, very handily used on black ships, which are these massive ships that go around the universe to capture rogue psychers and begin to train them for an express purpose. Now, that express purpose could likely also mean that they're sacrificed to the Golden Throne to keep the Emperor alive and the Astronomicon lit for a little longer, but it also means that they can recruit psychers into the Militarum or any other aid that is needed throughout the Imperium. That's kind of all we know, but before I go, I do want to point out a fun fact about the Sisters of Silence that not a lot of people discuss, and it's that Sisters of Silence kind of operate similar to Psychers, where each individual iterance of the pariah gene is actually different depending on the sister. So their blankness, like their powers, manifests differently depending on the person. Some people could just get like the shittiest version of it, where it's like their blankness only manifests if they're directly touching someone, but sometimes it could be they shut off psychic abilities in a straight line directly in front of them as long as they can see something directly. Think like Aizawa from My Hero Academia. Yes, I made an anime reference in a 40k video, leave me alone. But then you have other individuals who just have something simple, like they shut off psychic abilities within like a 5-foot dome extended around them. Then you have people who can localize a small dome of their own at range whenever they see fit. There's really no standardization for it, and if you get stuck with kind of a shitty one, you're likely just going to be a rank and file Sister of Silence for as long as you live. But it's still a very useful ability to have, turning off psychic powers. Though that does bring up the age-old question of, it doesn't mean that psychers aren't still threats to you. Say your powers can only affect someone who's within 20 feet of you, and someone's outside of 30 feet. Sure, if they huck a fireball made out of psychic fire at you, it'll fizzle away, but if they can lift up boulders and throw one directly at you, it's not like turning off the psychic aura that is controlling the boulder's trajectory is going to save you. You just gotta get out of the way. And that's kind of the big flaw with Sisters of Silence. They still have that little issue where they can manipulate the Immaterium to turn it off, but they can't really stop it once it's kind of phased into the real world's type of shit, right? So collateral damage is usually the best way to deal with them, but you're also likely dealing with Custodes if you're seeing them, and you have other problems. Oh, and if you're a guy who is a blank, I diagnosed you with good luck. Good luck with that, because you're likely either going to just be ignored, neglected, killed in a Sciaphus Cain book, or you're going to be sent to the Assassinorum to be turned into a Calexis, which is also incredibly shitty in a different way, because you're just going to be lonely forever and likely under sedatives. So yeah, on to the last section, which is just the bits and bobs, the extra little things that I want to talk about. For the last segment of this video, I'm going to be discussing a bunch of odds and ends, some small pieces of trivia for all of the talents of the Emperor combined that I felt like I couldn't really add to prior segments without kind of mucking up the pacing a little bit. Firstly, let's get into one of my favorites, and that is the Blood Games. The Blood Games are such a fun idea. I know they're talked about to death at this point, but I still want to go over. If I recall correctly, the Blood Games were technically started by Alfarius, or rather inspired by him, making a faux attempt at killing the Emperor one day to prove that it is actually a lot easier than the Custodians and the Emperor thought. So now the Custodians make a game out of trying to find weaknesses in the Imperium's defenses, especially in regards to protecting the Emperor. This stretches back to the early days of the Great Crusade, so how does one engage in the Blood Games? Well, you elect to do so as a Custodian, sometimes in a group, sometimes just one person deciding they had a point to prove, and from then on you are allowed a small grace period to set up. From there, you must find a way to break into the Imperial Palace and try to kill the Emperor. Simple as, right? Well, they have been doing so for many thousands of years, and because of that, most weaknesses have been eliminated. So, how serious are the games? Deadly fucking serious. Basically, you have to try and kill the Emperor, and kill anyone who gets in your way. It doesn't matter who is in your way, I should note, even if they are another Custodes. Because if someone as strong as a Custodes can break into the palace and after killing maybe 2 or 3 guys gets to the Emperor, then maybe there are a few oversights that need to be looked into. A lot of these games are like galaxy spanning, as they take like months to maybe even years to complete, and it is seen as a great honor to get really close to accomplishing it, as well as working out flaws that could possibly exist in the framework of the Imperial Palace. There was this like one time. The game has a variety of winners over the years, ranging from one individual who was this one guy, Custodes, of course, who was able to find a specific narcotic substance that specialized in slowing your heart. It was a system depressant, and it specialized in slowing down your heart rate a lot, depending on the dose that you took. But it was not checked by most Imperial scanners. He pretended to be a vat-grown ab-human working in a quarry where it was developed, working around with a bunch of Ogrins and other vat-grown individuals. This Custodes found this substance and realized its effects, secretly stealing the drug from other members of the quarry and making it a lot more potent using basic chemistry. Using this, he was able to slow his heart rate to like some shit like 1 beat every 2 minutes and sneak in past the biometric scanners of the Imperial Palace on a cart of metals he snuck in on. Bro was able to use his knowledge to arm himself, kill some castle guards, and get within 5 feet of the still living Emperor who is currently in meditation. His custodian brothers were genuinely impressed, as he was the closest in quite a long
Orc looters!
Check on the array, quickly.
Target repositioning. Readiness Tactical Squad repositioning.
Weapons ready. Repositioning.
Greenskins made a mess of this. Are you seeing this, Tech Marine?
Yes, and it is no welcome sight. The orcs have removed a key power coupling. You must recover that coupling.
We have coordinates for the Orc looters, Commander.
Brothers, we go.
Readiness is all.
New orders for us? What is the chapter's wish? This is Avitus.
Hi, I'm Arthur, and this is part 15 in a 20-part series I am doing covering fan favorite, important, or just plain cool successor chapters in order of the legions, giving more of an in-depth knowledge of them as well as my opinions. Do you need to have seen the other parts to understand this one? No, but if you don't, I'll release an Arthur My Dune Scuttler into your house, and it's going to do absolutely nothing except stick to your ceiling and stare at you the whole time. And if you don't subscribe, well, then, Mr. President, I regret to inform you that there has been a second bug. Veiled threats aside, let's get into the 15th Legion, the 15th chapter, and the reason why I can't talk about Magnus in live streams anymore. Because I may or may not have taken things a bit too far in taking the piss out of him in several different settings. Well, I totally did. I think there was even a restraining order involved at some point, but whatever. So today we are going to be covering probably the most important successor of the Thousand Sons, though mostly we are going to be covering the Chaos Lord and leader of that group, Ahriman. Which means, yes, we are going to be covering the Prodigal Sons and their misdeeds, where they started, where they formed, and where they came from, as well as where they're going. They are one of those warband/chapters that exists with an express purpose in mind. That purpose is usually to just accomplish some especially arcane task, and in this case, quite literally. But we will get there. Before we do, let's just have a quick word from our sponsor. By my account, this video goes live the day I get back from my trip to Adepticon. And you know what I've learned from all my travels to all these Warhammer events is they are incredibly tiresome. Well, at least the traveling aspect. There's only so much time I can spend conscious playing Monster Hunter on my Switch in the Toronto airport before I realize make your water a little bit better, then I suggest picking up a tub of something like Nuclear Bombsicle. And outwardly, that is exactly what it is. Personally, I like to think more it's just rampant mutation brought about by the radiations that psychic energies produce, which, I mean, I guess that might be just exactly what a chaos spawn is, but in my mind there is a distinction. Regardless, Ahriman lost his brother due to the flesh change, and at this kind of young age, it definitely scarred him more or less for life. He is very much the type to not let things go, if you couldn't fucking tell. At this point, the Emperor thought about putting the Thousand Sons down, but saw good in them, so he let them bear this change for as long as necessary until a cure could be found. Ahriman was kind of leading the charge to fix it, but never really found something until his dad showed up. Magnus the Red showed up and blah blah blah, got tricked by Tzeentch, sacrificed an eye, and allegedly cured the flesh change, which he totally didn't. You know the song and dance at this point if you know anything about the Thousand Sons, and if you don't, well, I did cover Magnus in a Magnus dedicated video, so you should go watch that if you want to know specifically what happened. Now, the reason why I'm not doing that is because this is an Ahriman video and how Ahriman developed. So Ahriman, now mostly freed up from researching the flesh change and how to fix it, decided to dedicate his life to being the best damn sorcerer in the Thousand Sons, which he damn well became outside of Magnus. He became one of the best in the universe, to be completely fair when it comes to being psychic, and not without a little deserved arrogance, I mind you. That being said, he was relatively level-headed as far as him and his stature would go. He was a noble soul, but I think what is one of the most common traits in the Sons of Magnus definitely manifested in him, and that is just being incredibly naive. He makes horrible friends, I should note, and it kind of goes to show that he's a little bit too trusting of anybody. So, for one, he served with the Wordbearers for a stint during the Great Crusade to learn their lore, their stories, their religion, so on and so forth. He in fact became good friends with one Erebus, which, well, I guess he could have been friends with Erebus, but there was no goddamn chance that Erebus was friends with him, because Erebus is the worst person and doesn't like really anyone. But regardless, he ended up also befriending a Space Wolf rune priest by the name of Othair Weirdmake, which would inevitably be the downfall of his entire legion, because he decided to share secrets that he totally shouldn't have with this rune priest, because this kind of would lead to the Council of Nicaea happening, which sucks. What do I mean? Well, while serving on campaign with Weirdmake, he would share the struggles of his brothers and speak psyker to psyker with the Space Wolf, seemingly forming a bit of a kinship with with them over their shared plight of being psychically inclined in a universe that kind of hates that. But the thing you gotta remember about the Space Wolves as well, that is that they, of the hierarchy of their trust, starts and ends with the Emperor, with second place being Leman Russ, meaning if you are doing something the Emperor wouldn't approve of, they will not keep secrets unless Leman is involved, and even then, it really just depends on the situation. Regardless, because of this, it ended with the rampant overuse of psychic powers being reported to the Emperor and basically causing the Council of Nicaea to judge the Thousand Sons and Magnus of their crimes. But we did kind of skip things here. We're going a little bit at a breakneck pace, so let's slow things down a bit. How bad really was it? Like, how bad truly was it to justify them literally being brought to court over it? Well, for one, I think it's important to categorize things into three groups: the good, the bad, and the unnecessary. All three categories see a lot of misuses, and I'll go over and explain that. And for two, some of these weigh a little bit more than others, and also Magnus was kind of a dick at his trial, so it ended up, a lot of the trial was spurred on by the attitude that the Thousand Sons had, which was intense arrogance and thinking that they were better than everyone else because they were Space Marines that were almost always psychically inclined. So let's get into those three categories. So for the good, this is the category of them using the psychic abilities to benefit the world around them in more or less an objectively good way. So for one, their homeworld, Prospero, had these psychic parasites called the Psychnuin, which I think is how you say that would burrow into the brains of people who were psychically gifted and lay eggs there to create more. They were basically just giant mosquitoes that really, really sucked. With the help of Magnus, they were removed. Alongside that, Prospero was able to prosper and become a utopia. Disease was no longer a thing you had to worry about there, and the reason being is they would basically circumvent the natural order of the universe to fix anything. Oh, this disease has no known cure because its cellular structure is so simplified that you can't really do much to it? Well, I'm just going to use psychic surgery to make sure that its cell walls rupture and its nucleus becomes inert so that your immune system can fight it off naturally. Got cancer? Okay, I'll just kill all the cancerous cells in your body. Broken bones? I'll mend them. You look ugly? Aight, well, we can fix that. It got to the point where most physical problems could be solved. These are objectively good. Like, saving lives and extending human lifespans is incredibly important for the survival of humankind, as well as just a kindness you do for other individuals. Now, did they overuse it? You bet your ass they did, because they totally used that shit to solve colds